Final test match of the year, folks. Ireland and Australia from Dublin this weekend. Number 2 in the world, Ireland. Number 8 in the world, Australia. Both sides had interesting weeks last week. Ireland really got their attack firing after being, you feel like, not quite at 100% their previous 2 weeks. And the Aussies, having had a couple of cracking weeks against Wales and England, were really shut down by a very impressive Scottish side. So one more throw of the dice for these two sides. The squads have been named. We'll go through them. And a bit of extra spice because you got the two coaches of next year's Lions tour going head-to-head. These guys used to work together. There's lots to like about this one. We'll go through them and you guys can let us know your thoughts. We will start with the Irish side, which has kind of been a little bit bolstered by some of the big guns who returned to the side, having missed out last week when they got rotated. It's not a bad thing for Andy Farrell to rotate, but one of the big calls he has made is to keep Sam Prendergast at number 10. So Jack Crowley is back into the side, but only in a bench role for this one. Andy Farrell was a little bit coy about it. He seems to think that the reporters make a bigger deal about it than what they do in terms of their team selections. I'm guessing he just wants to see more of this guy. Sees a bit of potential in him, and he kind of said that he knows what Jack Crowley can do. He's done it in big games before. So I guess having more than one option is certainly a preferable one for the coaches to have. It's a good headache when you've got multiple guys who can do a job for you. So yeah, Prendergast gets the call. He's alongside Gibson Park as that kind of all Leinster 9-10 combo. Remember, Gibson Park was rested last week, so he'll be looking to get back into things. Front row wise, Kelleher swaps places with Gus McCarthy. So Gus got his first international cap last week against Fiji. Looked all, barring like the odd not straight line out, looked the part 100% for a guy who's very early on in his professional rugby career, let alone his test career. So good to see him continue on, but it's a bench role for this one, so maybe a little bit less pressure on him. Porter and Beelum continue on as the props. Taniela Tupou's back for the Wallabies, so the scrum time is going to be very fun. And the second row of Ryan and McCarthy is reunited after Ryan didn't play last week. That's a couple of big lumps in that second row, man. There's a couple of big, hard-hitting guys. Tyke Burns switches out from the second row to the back row for this one, so you got a bit of extra line-out height in the back row with him there at 6, and his work at the breakdown is, as always, pretty phenomenal. And then Van der Fleer is going to be your work rate guy, and Caelan Doris will be hoping he doesn't have to go out into the backs this week, as Andy Farrell mentioned in the press conference. But he still captains the side from number 8. His battle up against Rob Valentini, who's also been having a cracking year around the park, will be one to watch. The midfield of Aki and Henshaw continues on. Ringrose is back into the side, but only in the 23 jumper. So Andy Farrell must have seen something he likes from them last week. Lowe's back in on the left wing. Hansen continues in on the right. And then Hugo Keenan likewise resumes his role as number 15. So yeah, it's more what we expect from Andy Farrell's kind of closer to full strength Irish side. Bench-wise, Henderson is still there. Peter Omani's back into the 23. Craig Casey drops to the bench. And Cian Healy is there on the bench, set to become the most capped Irish international player ever. So what an occasion for him to do it. Massive, massive congratulations to him. What a servant to the game. For the Wallabies, they have had to make a few changes. Remember, outside the international test window, so there's no Will Skelton for this one. And remember, they did rest a couple of guys last week against Scotland. They said a couple of the guys were fatigued. So the fatigued guys are back. Remember, they also had to make late changes. I think there was a bit of illness around the Wallabies squad last week too. So hopefully everyone is kind of back to 100%. James Slipper and Taniela Tupou are both into the 23, having not played last week. So scrum time will be interesting because Tupou's been cracking. Slipper not so much. Slipper could come under a bit of pressure if Finlay Beelum was able to turn the screws on him. But then, as I said, Tupou will be looking to try to get on top of Andrew Porter. Painga Mosa continues on. He's probably the best scrummaging hooker that the Wallabies have got. So scrum time, as I said, is one of the features of this game for mine. Call me a purist. Nick Frost is up from the bench, and Jeremy Williams takes the number 5 jersey for this one. So they're a little bit less bulky in the line-out without Will Skelton, but you would feel like aerially they'll be a little bit stronger. Rob Valentini, Fraser McRae, and Harry Wilson, that's the back row. Fraser McRae is one of the guys who was rested for last week and is genuinely, if not the best Wallabies player, he's one of the best Wallabies players in 2024. Absolute work rate around the park, similar to Van der Fleer in that regard. very X factor as well. Look for him to be getting into some space, and he can hoof a ball long if he needs to as well. Gordon and Loloseo, that's the same 19 combo that played last week against the Scots. Ikitau and Suali'i. Suali'i being available is good because it looked like he had injured himself last week, but it seems to have been nothing serious, which is really pleasing for a guy with a big old price tag on him. If any of you Irish fans haven't seen him, he's a former league guy. I've only seen him in a couple of games myself, but boy is he good in the air. He's going to chase every kick off and be looking to tap him back, and he can get stupid kind of Israel Folau-like aerial skills. I mean, you guys watch the old Gaelic football, you'll appreciate this guy's skill set, I am sure. Max Jorgensen's up from the bench. The youngster on the left wing, Andrew Callaway and Tom Wright continue on. And Tom Wright's been having something of a season as well. At fullback, really, really dangerous footwork. Replacements, Pollard, Bell and Alalatoa. So Bell and Alalatoa, the props are on the bench. They are probably a little bit tired after the 6-day turnaround. But, yeah, we'll be looking to add some impact when they come on. Likewise, Salakaioloto drops to the bench. Gleeson, McDermott, Edmed, and Potter are there. Edmed, I think it's his first game of this Autumn Nation series for the Wallabies side. So, be interesting to see if he actually gets any proper game time. Stats-wise, for the Irish, I mentioned their attack finally got firing. Last week, remember, they had less than 50% possession against Argentina and against New Zealand. They're a possession side. Once they got it against Fiji last week, you saw everything go up. More clean breaks, more defenders beaten, more run meters, and then I think more offloads than Ireland had thrown all year. I think it was equal to their game against Italy in the Six Nations. So Ireland really played with some confidence last week, ball in hand. They will still want the line-out numbers to be a bit better. They're not terrible, but they would like to be a bit more secure at line-out time. For the Aussies, I mean, last week against Scotland, they really struggled defensively. Their tackle percentage was 79, which is their worst performance of the entire year, and they've conceded some points this year in their better games, in their worst games. They average kind of in the mid-80s, which is solid without being spectacular, but last week was particularly poor. On the flip side, the Scottish defence kept the Wallabies' attack very, very quiet. I think the Wallabies had 2 clean breaks in the entire game, whereas they average over 5 across the year. They had 9 against Wales the week before and like 13 against England the week before. So 2 was a big, drastic back down to earth for the Wallabies. So yeah, the Irish defence is pretty stingy as well, but they do have some proper game breakers, man. Like if Suali'i can do his thing, who knows? See if they're able to crack the Irish defence open. It's interesting how rarely you guys have played each other in recent years. Last 5 games, there's a game in 2022, which is 13-10. It's a pretty close game. And then we're back to 2018. I remember that 2018 series pretty vividly because this channel was very new at that time. It was that series which helped get this channel to 1,000 subscribers. That series had videos which, I remember I couldn't reply to all the comments for the first time ever. Because, yeah, that was a really cracker series. I remember France were in New Zealand at the same time, and that series was lopsided as heck. Nobody really cared. But your guys' series against each other, Wallabies and Ireland, was cracking. Like 20-16, 26-21, and 18-9. Like really 3 really close games. But yeah, you guys haven't played each other that much. And there's a game in 2016 which was 27-24. So all really close. And all pretty low scoring. Like 4-1 though in Ireland's favour. So Ireland have had the wood over the Wallabies in recent years. Well, as I said, 2018 is not that recent. Average score 19-18. Really rare to see such low scoring and tight games generally. I don't know, maybe this one's going to open up. These two sides are probably further apart than they have been in terms of Ireland being so far ahead of Australia in terms of rankings than they have in any of those previous games. Yeah, it is on at Dublin. The Italian Andrea Priati is the ref. It's on at 3:10, which is a great kickoff time for you Irish fans. Less so for Wallabies fans. You Wallabies fans have had to deal with some stinking kickoff times the entire Autumn Nation series. This is another 2 o'clock kickoff for you guys. 2:10. It's 4:10 for those of us in New Zealand, so slightly better. The Irish are the favourites pretty heavily with this one. 15 say the bookies and 19 says the Rugby forecast algorithm. Now, if you guys are looking for something for Christmas, British and Irish Lions store. I'm an affiliate of that store. So check down in the description if you want to get some Lions gear, if you're a Irish fan. or a Wallabies fan looking to get some British and Irish Lions gear. They're doing Black Friday, so check down in the description to get some gear ahead of next year's tour. It should be a pretty interesting one. And you guys let us know your thoughts on how this one is going to go. Are Ireland going to be too good, as is predicted, or do you think Joe Schmidt, with that kind of bit of inside knowledge with the Irish squad, can put a bit of a cat amongst the pigeons? You guys take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.